everybody. I am welcome to our session on developing an age-friendly initiative. And my name is Sheila Brogan, and I'm joined with Beth Abbott, and we are co-chairs of Age Friendly Ridgewood. We also are lucky to have Danielle Pagani with us today, and she is from our health department and has been a huge collaborator and partner with the Age Friendly movement in Ridgewood. So we're so happy that she joined us. Danielle's going to be sort of watching the chat and doing that monitoring. I think how we'll do this is we'll go through our short presentation and then answer any questions. You can either place them in the chat or you just raise your hand and we can have a good discussion. So I think that's how we're going to do it. Next slide. So Age Friendly Ridgewood. We're a little bit unique in the Age Friendly movement because we are really a grassroots. We were not part of an organization really. We began just as a group of interested citizens in Ridgewood who wanted to understand better the needs of older adults and to make sure that older adults in Ridgewood had a voice in our community when things were planned and policies were made. We had an affiliation, a group of us had an affiliation with our community center, and we're part of the community center advisory board. So out of this small group, we expanded to other people who were interested and began our work in, I think it was end of 2015, and into 2016, where we were really initiating this program. Next slide.
So one of the first things we did was create a survey. That grassroots small group that Sheila just mentioned developed a list of questions. We used the general subject areas of the World Health Organization, age-friendly domains. After we created our questions, we used focus groups to talk through the survey and make sure it was clear and answerable. And then we spent several months distributing the survey around town. We wanted as many responses as possible. It was online and on paper. We went to community groups. We put notices in the paper, in various community organizations and municipal outlets. And we ended up with over 700 responses, which was 11% of the 55 and older population in Ridgewood. And we were pretty happy about that. We understood that that was a pretty good percentage. And then because of the generous funding we received from the Henry and Marilyn Taub Foundation, we were able to hire the Center for Research and Evaluation at Montclair State to analyze the results. This was especially helpful with the qualitative answers, you know, the ones where people could write a couple sentences. So they gave us detailed analysis of every question, and they also created one-pagers for the subject areas, like as you see on the slide, summarizing the themes that they saw in the answers. We feel like their professionalism and objective viewpoint really helped us maximize the buy-in around town. So the survey quantitative questions and answers are on our website. So concurrent with the survey, we interviewed as many older adults and people who work with them around Ridgewood. We asked questions like, you know, what's your involvement? What issues do you see? What solutions do you suggest? We went to the library, houses of worship, social services organizations, senior housing. And then we used the major findings from the survey to run focus groups. So we took the main conclusions that Montclair gave us, and we put them on these big poster boards. And then we had the focus group participants use the dots to mark the ones they felt were most important. Then we had discussions, we took notes. So, and we tried to involve as many different age groups and types of experiences of being an older adult as we could in these focus groups. So we used all this information to develop our initial sets of goals and projects. Oh, sorry.
So all along, as we were collecting this data and talking with older adults in our community, we also were looking at what organizations were already serving older adults or were very interested to do it. So through our public meetings and through our task force and focus groups, we established a steering committee, but we also developed these partnerships with both the private and public organizations to expand our efforts and to really, really grow this effort in making our community age friendly, knowing that as we improve our community for older adults, we really are improving our community for everyone. So some of the key partnerships, I'll just go through them real quickly, that are listed here. The Ridgewood Parks and Recreations runs our community center, and the community center had already been doing programming for older adults, but with age-friendly efforts, they began to look at how what other programs could we do, what other, how else can we involve older adults in the life of our community. And a number of things grew out of that. With the health department, we had this, wonderful partnership, and then COVID struck. And we worked very closely with the health department, and the health department was right on task in terms of getting vaccinations, clinics happening, and a big success story for Age Friendly, for the health department, for our community, was we have a 129 unit apartment building for older adults. And those, we rapidly made sure that they were registered, and the health department made sure that all of them had COVID vaccines. So we worked with senior housing. The library has been a huge partner with us in terms of helping us expand our work, and they helped host a volunteer fair that was tremendously successful in trying to hook people into volunteer positions and to let people know, both the organizations and our older adults, that these volunteer opportunities were available. Valley Hospital was there also helping us to distribute vaccinations, and also being there at all of our tasks and on our steering committee. Village Manager's Office helped with expanding transportation options. Our village engineer, maybe a little push on this one, but in fact, we did a sidewalk audit, and they came up to look at our sidewalks in the business district in Ridgewood, and improvements were made when we talked to them about some of the issues in the sidewalks, some of the things that were unsafe in our central business district. And those have really been improved tremendously. And the Chamber of Commerce embraced age friendliness as they looked at how can their businesses be more age friendly. What do we need to do to make sure we are encouraging older adults to shop and take an interest in our community. Next slide. So, this was just a brief presentation, but you can see how the gathering of information, giving us the goals and projects and what we needed to do, talking to our community, forming partnerships, were all part of this first year as we initiated Age Friendly in Ridgewood. Feel free to contact us. This is our contact information, both our email and our phone number. And If you go onto our website, agefriendlyridgewood.org, you'll see how we've organized our information out there, our survey questions and results. And we, in the third year, we did a follow-up survey of how we're doing, and that's all listed on our website as well. So I think, Beth, we are set to take some questions. Is there any in the chat, Danielle? No.
Do you have a facility for seniors to meet at, your community center?
We do. We have a community center. It's in Village Hall. And
what does that mean, Village Hall? Is your a municipal building?
Municipal building, yeah.
No, it's not one building dedicated to senior activities.
No, it's the first floor of our municipal building, and there's a large there are 2 rooms, both good size, and then an outside patio area.
And it's used for teenage events as well as events for older adults and really everybody in the community.
So it's more of a community center. It's like some towns have a building that's dedicated to seniors. They serve lunches and they have programs and speakers. That's not okay. No,
you know, in the next town, which we work, and many of our seniors will go to there is a Bergen County municipal, a Bergen County Regional Senior Center, and there's a hot lunch program there. Our community center is in Ridgewood is more about activities for older adults in terms of exercise programs, art workshops. People are playing canasta, bridge, mahjong, and that kind of thing.
And who manages that? Is that a committee that does each particular program, or the town manager, or?
The Parks and Recreation Department for the Village of Ridgewood runs the community center.
So it looks like we do have a couple questions coming in. So the first thing was, can you put the phone number back on the screen? I also put it in the chat. But Allison asks, is this initiative just for Ridgewood or surrounding towns as well?
We're focused on Ridgewood, but we're very happy to have the participation of anybody. Our email list is open to anybody. I know there's plenty of people who come to events from the surrounding towns.
What's the population of Ridgewood?
The population, we have about 25,000 people in Ridgewood. So our initiative, it was Ridgewood specific. We received a grant with 5 other communities in Bergen County who in 2016 applied to these sort of challenge grants, if you will, from the Tau Foundation. And so these 5 communities began looking at how do you establish age-friendly initiatives in these communities. The work now is trying to spread it out so that throughout the state, we are an age-friendly state, age-friendly county, that kind of thing.
We have 2 more questions from Gail. Gail asked, do you have any survey questions related to technology needs for older adults? And do you find transportation is an issue for these programs?
We definitely did have questions about technology because we were curious what people were using and what they needed. So I can definitely communicate with you and point to those questions, or you're welcome to look on the website and see them. Also, as a follow-up to the question about the population, it's around 25,000, but a quarter of them are 55 and older, and about half of that group are 55 to 65. So Ridgewood, like many towns, has people moving into that age group, but then often leaving. And one of our hopes was that if people were inclined to stay, they would, and we could make it a more welcoming community for them. And transportation is definitely an issue.
What are you trying to achieve? A jitney system or a pickup system? I'm in Montclair. Our population is about 39,000. We really don't have what I think is a good program. We have 600 members in an organization called Aging in Montclair, but we really don't have something that's organized as you do or many other towns do. And it's really frustrating.
Well, can I just go, we'll do the transportation, but on technology, particularly during the COVID years, if you will, we partnered with the library, and the library has done a tremendous amount of work in having technology hours, workshops, drop-in sessions so that you can learn technology. We also brought to their attention the need to teach people how to use Zoom in those first few months of COVID, when everything was going digital and people had exercise programs and everything on Zoom. So one-on-one, people could call in to the library and really walk through how to open up on a Zoom and how to do it. So we felt that was really successful. Transportation is always an issue. We have a bus in Ridgewood. It runs 2.5 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Wednesdays, and there's a route and specific things they'll do. What we did in Ridgewood, we knew that might not be enough for everybody. And so we realized the need for information sharing. And you'll see on our website, but we also have it in hard copy, all of the transportation options that are open for people in this area. And it's a great list and has been pretty successfully used. It's on the website under transportation to see that information. But we also, as I said, had it in hard copies.
I shared it in the chat for you.
Oh, thanks.
It looks like David asked, might you please comment briefly about how the follow-up survey results compared with the original?
That's a good question. We did find that people knew about Age Friendly. That was part of the goal of the second survey, to say, do you know about us? Do you feel like the town is focusing more on older adults than they did before? So the numbers were pretty good, but I would be honest and say not as amazing as we hoped, you know, so it kind of gave us some hints on what we still needed to work on.
Yeah, we, from that survey, we redesigned some of the information on our website. We have new housing that was opened, and we did a lot of branding, and we were part of the Welcome to Ridgewood information that went out from the Chamber and the Guild, which are two of our groups in Ridgewood that about the downtown area. So we realized that we still had more work to do. I would say that now we are in our 7th year, and people know Age Friendly, and we often are getting now more questions. If you are need to ask us a question, it's an easy email or a phone call, and we always get back to you. And we have a lot of people asking questions about transportation and housing, and or if they have an issue with their technology and who we can hook them up to. So I think that we're getting well known. It's a work in progress always.
Doesn't look like we have anything else in the chat. Does anyone want to add anything to the chat? I'm also checking for hands being raised.
Yeah, I guess David?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Was pedestrian safety an important issue for your survey? In the village I live now, it seems to be an emerging one.
It definitely was an issue, and a lot of our focus has been on that. We did a walkability study with the help of a lot of organizations in New Jersey and our funder, and then the sidewalk audit that Sheila mentioned. So it definitely is an ongoing issue and one we've focused on.
Some of our successes have been those blinking lights at crosswalks, crosswalk improvements, sidewalk improvements, and even in places where there weren't sidewalks, the village has engaged with us in making sure that sidewalks are put in. So that's been a win for us on our pedestrian safety. Looks like we've got 21 seconds. But please contact us where you can, I think Danielle put the chat, right? You put that back in the chat.
I did, and Gail had a question about addressing